What is up, guys? Welcome to my trailer breakdown for Legends of Tomorrow Season 3, Episode 18, titled The Good, the Bad, and the Cuddly, otherwise known as the season finale of Season 3 of Legends of Tomorrow, which is insane. It feels like it's just like a week ago that the season started back in October, but it's actually been a really long time, especially when you consider that there was a 2-month break, but for some reason it doesn't feel like it's been a lot of time at all, so the fact that we're already by the season finale is pretty crazy. And just reflecting back on the season, this has been one of the best seasons of the Arrowverse ever. It is really great, and it seems like this season finale will probably end off the season pretty well. Hopefully, I mean, if the season finale is great or something like that, this might be like the top 5 Arrowverse seasons, along with The Flash Season 1 and Arrow Season 1, 2, and 5, because those seasons are great. This season is definitely by far the best Legends of Tomorrow season, but also probably one of the top 5 best Arrowverse seasons, which I will go into more in depth in my season review, which will come out after the season finale review. I don't know how long after. So with that reflection on the season past us, let's go over what this video is titled, which is a trailer and also synopsis breakdown. We can't break down the trailer without watching it, so let's watch the trailer.
We're facing an army of Romans, Vikings, and pirates. But you know what today is? Today is the day. Attack! We earn the name Legends.
DC's Legends of Tomorrow, season finale this Monday at 8/7 Central on the CW.
So as you can see from the trailer, the Legends for some reason are in the Wild West, which they've gone to like twice before, and both times they met up with Jonah Hex, and that might seem a little stale because they've like gone to the future twice or 3 times before, not a lot of times, just because that sounds more expensive to do than to go to the Wild West, which makes sense. But the fact that they keep on going back there can be a little stale, but the fact that Jonah Hex is in this time period and the only way we can visit him, the only way that we can have him on the show is by going to this time period, makes it less repetitive and less stale for the show. And speaking about Jonah Hex, he is in this episode. His role in the episode will probably just have him fight with the Legends against this this army of history, and that's basically the best way to describe it. This army of history, which consists of Romans, pirates, and Vikings, and the best way to just describe that is an army of history. And the reason that this army of history is even here in the first place is because that time is kind of broken, and that's the reason Mallus was able to get out of his cage, because of all of the anachronisms that caused time to break further and further, which let him out of his cage. And now that time is broken, I guess these armies just find themselves in the Wild West. The Romans, the Vikings, and also the pirates. Not the pirates, just pirates. Now, Jonah Hex is not the only character that's returning for this episode. Jefferson Jackson is returning. I don't know how he will play into the episode. I don't think he's going to fight alongside them against this army because, one, we don't see him here, and we don't see Jonah Hex here either, but I mean, he lives here in the Wild West in this time period, so that explains why we don't see him here, but we definitely know he's going to fight with them. Jefferson Jackson, he doesn't live here and in this time period, and he doesn't have superpowers or any fighting ability at this time, so I don't know why he wouldn't really fight alongside them. I don't think Jefferson Jackson will have a big part in the episode because he's not a series regular or anything. He doesn't have superpowers. I just think he's coming back for some reason. I honestly don't know why, but the fact that he's coming back is pretty cool. Another character that's coming back is Helen of Troy. You see her right here in this shot fighting, I think, Romans, and it's a pretty cool shot. The thing that's really cool about this shot is that Helen of Troy seems to be wearing Themyscirian armor, because we know that Sara Lee left her in Themyscira back in like episode 4, I think, 4 or 5, I think it was 4, I almost definitely, yeah, it was 4, I'm pretty sure it was 4, that she, or 6, it doesn't matter, it really doesn't matter, but Sara Lee left her in Themyscira, and it seems like here, she's wearing Themyscirian, I don't really know which one it is, but armor, and the reason I think that it looks like that is just because it looks really similar to what they wore in the Wonder Woman movie, and that's not in the same continuity, but I mean, the similarities can be the same, and it would make sense because she was in Themyscira for a while, so this is really, like, I love references to DC characters, and this is a huge reference to Wonder Woman. Themyscira was the biggest one so far, but this one, the Themyscirian armor, is a huge one as well, so that is really cool. So those are all the characters that are returning: Jonah Hex, Jefferson Jackson, and Helena of Troy. Actually, scratch that. That's not true at all. John Constantine is returning for the season finale as well, and this will actually be the final episode in Legends of Tomorrow for at least a while that he will not be a series regular, because in season 4, starting with episode 1, he will be a series regular. But just thinking about that, it means that he will probably have a big role in the crossover next year, which is insane because I've always wanted to see him in a crossover and he's never been in one. Along with Kid Flash, he hasn't really had a big role in a crossover either. He's always been sidelined, so it seems like these two characters will probably get a bigger role in this next crossover, which is pretty cool, especially for Constantine. But this episode, he is returning, so what I said earlier about the only characters returning are Jonah Hex, Jefferson Jackson, and Helen of Troy, I was actually wrong. It's actually Jonah Hex, Jefferson Jackson, Helen of Troy, and John Constantine. So a lot of characters are returning. I don't know where any of them, except for Jonah Hex and Helen, I don't know where Constantine and Jefferson Jackson, is what I meant to say, fit into the story. Jonah Hex and Helen of Troy are clearly fighting here. Helen of Troy is probably here because of the fact that time is broken. Constantine will probably fit in just because them dealing with Mallus. This trailer might be a little not very accurate to the episode like the last episode was, because all we see here is this battle, which may be like at the beginning of the episode, and then the rest of the episode is them dealing with Mallus, which I will talk about in a second, of them fighting Mallus in this episode. So it's possible that this fight here is only the beginning, and then later in the episode, like the second half, we have this other thing with Constantine and Jefferson Jackson, and maybe even Jonah Hex as well. So that's where I think all those characters will fit in. I'm really not sure about Jefferson Jackson, but Constantine will probably almost definitely help with the fight against Mallus, because he's very adept in dealing with demons, and Mallus is clearly a demon, and he's a huge time demon who looks really scary and cool. Like, I really like his design. It's a great design, and I'm really hoping to see more of him in the episode. But that's besides the point. Constantine, that's probably how Constantine will fit into this episode, just dealing with Mallus. And I think that this fight scene here is just a tiny little portion of the episode, and I don't think the episode will lead up to this fight scene, because I want it to lead up to a battle with Mallus, with six totem users versus Mallus. That sounds pretty awesome. The last thing I want to talk about in the trailer before breaking down the synopsis, which is, it's crazy that I'm breaking down so late in the video. Usually it's at the beginning, but I just so much to talk about from just the trailer alone and the guest appearances in the episode. Last thing to talk about, though, is Sara's quote from the trailer, which I think is awesome. It's that you know what today is? Today is the day that we earn the title of Legends. It's very reminiscent of last season's quote from Sara about Legends, which is Legends never die, and that was a really great quote as well. And this one seems like version 0.2 of that quote, and it's just a great quote. I really like it. So moving on to the synopsis, which reads: the Legends' plan to vanquish Mallus by using the totems doesn't go as planned, forcing Rip to improvise. The team finds itself regrouping in the Wild West, where they run into their old pal, Jonah Hex. Sara leaves Ray in charge of watching Damian Darhk while she comes up with a new plan. Meanwhile, Amaya is determined to find a way to use the totems to destroy Mallus. So the thing at the beginning of the synopsis where it says the Legends' plan to vanquish Mallus by using the totems doesn't go as planned, that actually happened in the previous episode, which you probably already knew. Just they said it in the synopsis just because the fact that happened set up this episode. The fact that happened is just the cause of this episode existing at all, because if it did work, this episode would not have to exist. So, and then it says that it forces Rip to improvise, which I don't actually really know what that means. We get nothing from the promotional photos of Rip, and nothing else in the synopsis, nothing in the trailer. So there's really nothing to go off of what this improvising is, other than the fact that the Legends go to the Wild West, which I don't think that has to do with Rip. I just think that it's because the Wave Rider detects a huge anachronism in the Wild West of this army of pirates and Romans and Vikings, and that's why they go there. I don't think that has anything to do with Rip improvising, but I think something that Rip might be doing to improvise is, and I think this is actually a pretty cool idea, is to round up like an army of Avas. I think he can go to that future. I don't really remember. I think it was like like 2000 and 2300, I think. You could go to that future and get an army of Avas to fight this army of history and Mallus himself. I think that might be what this improvisation is, because there's really nothing else I could think of. So moving on to the next part of the synopsis, I already talked about the thing about them regrouping in Wild West, so skipping over to Sara leaves Ray in charge of watching Damian Darhk. So I think at this point, Damian Darhk will almost definitely sacrifice himself for the greater good at the last episode in the season finale of this season, just to redeem himself and then be gone from the Arrowverse forever. Even though I think he was great in this season, this is definitely his best season yet. Like, he was bad in season 4 of Arrow, and he was good. He was pretty good in season 2 of Legends of Tomorrow, but he was great in season 3 of Legends. So I think he should end on a high note. I think he should leave the Arrowverse for good. He's been a little overplayed in the Arrowverse for such a minor villain in the DC universe. Like, he's a Teen Titans villain that's appeared in like 2 comics. He's a very minor villain. So the fact that he's been the main villain of one season and then an almost main villain in 2 other seasons, he's been a little overplayed. But the fact that he was great in this season is a testament to the fact that he could be great in future seasons. But I think that he should end his run in the Arrowverse on a high note and die in this season forever. I think he should never come back after this season, and I think he should sacrifice himself for the greater good against Mallus. I don't know if it'll work against Mallus. I don't think it should. I don't think his sacrifice should be the thing that saves the Legends, but I think it should help the Legends in some manner or whatever. I just think that he should end his run in the Arrowverse and end it on a high note. So then it says that Sara comes up with a new plan, which I have no idea what that is, so I'm just going to skip that. I really have no idea what this new plan is. I'm actually excited about the fact that I don't know what it is, because I feel like they're going to think of something outside of the box that I'm not thinking of, which I love it when TV shows about superheroes or movies about superheroes do that. For example, when Doctor Strange went up against Dormammu, the way they went out of that was so out of the box. It was awesome. So hopefully they do something similar with this and the show, and that movie were kind of about time travel. This show was very much about time travel. That movie was also a lot about time travel and also magic. So I think they should do something similar to that, because Dormammu and what's his name, Mallus, are very similar if you think about it. I mean, not really similar, but they are both huge CGI creatures who have something to do with, I think, time. I'm not really sure, but I think if they just think of something out of the box, they can make this really, really work. And then the synopsis ends saying that meanwhile, Amaya is determined to find a way to use the totems to destroy Mallus. And I think the reason the synopsis is saying that is because Amaya and Sara might like clash on ideas, with Sara coming up with a new plan and then Amaya determined to use her old plan. They might have a clash of personalities in that respect. I don't think it will be that circumstantial at all. I think they will have an argument here and there and then get along at the end, defeating Mallus. I don't think that they're gonna defeat Mallus using the totems. I mean, I think they probably should, even though I just said that they should probably think of something out of the box. They've been setting up these totems for the entirety of the season and also during Season 2 of Vixen, so if they don't go with these totems to defeat Mallus, that might seem like a cheap way out, or like a cop-out, because they've been setting this up for such a long time. So I'm really torn. I don't know if I want a out-of-the-box solution or the one that we already know is coming, but it was set up for the entirety of the season and previous seasons and other shows, that it would feel like a cop-out if they don't go with it. I'm actually torn. I think I lean more towards Amaya's determination of using the totems, because I really want to see that happen. I want to see all the totems come together and actually kill and destroy Mallus. I think that would be a really cool thing to see, but who knows, maybe the thing that Sara comes up with that's out of the box and something that I just don't think of could work as well. Who knows, we'll just have to wait a week to see. Speaking of Mallus, his role in this trailer is very minimal. The only time we see him is a shot from episode 17 of his reveal, which was awesome, but we don't actually see him at all in this episode. Like I said earlier in this video, I said that this battle that's going on in this trailer I don't think it's going to be the main plot of the episode. I don't think the episode's going to lead up to it. So I think that Mallus will be like obviously the Mallus will be the main antagonist of the episode, and I really want to see the Legends go up against him in some manner whatsoever. So I think that he will probably show up again. here and there. Again, like I said in a couple previous videos, he does cost a lot of money to show on screen, but I think seeing as this is the season finale, and I think they've actually been probably saving up some money for the season finale. I think the season finales have slightly bigger budgets. They could probably pull off having Mallus just around for a lot of the episode, which I would love to see. I just want to see him flying around and fighting the legends and doing what he wanted to do from the beginning, which is I think just take over time, which is a little similar to Savitar, but I think Mallus was Savitar, but just done so much better. His reveal, even though it was similar to Savitar, how it was late in the season, I don't know why it just worked better, just because it wasn't an identity thing, it was just a what does he look like thing, so it didn't really like tear on your soul. It wasn't like the only thing you cared about to know, because like I want to know already. It was just I want to know what he looks like. We already know who he is. He's Mallus. So I think he was Savitar, but done a lot better. Like it's the same concept. This god who we don't know what he looks like is stuck in a prison, and the whole season is him trying to get out, and then his reveal is like one of the last episodes in the season. It's so similar, but Mallus was pulled off so much better than Savitar, and I just really want to see him more in this episode. I really wanted to see like just 40 minutes of him fighting the legends, or him planning and then him fighting the legends for like 15 minutes, but that sounds a little far-fetched. It seems like that sounds a little insane and costly. It sounds expensive, so I don't think that's going to happen, but I just really want to see at least like 20 minutes of him and the legends squaring off in some sort of way. I won't be disappointed if it's just 10 minutes or something like that, because like if it's just the last 10 minutes of the episode and it's awesome, I'll be happy with that, but I do want to see it for longer than that. So that's it for my trailer / synopsis breakdown of the season finale of Legends of Tomorrow, and I know this was a very long video. This is definitely, I think, my longest trailer breakdown for anything ever, and that's because this is the season finale of the season, so I had a lot to talk about, and I'm really excited for this episode. So I think that the fact that I'm excited for this episode just gives me more to talk about, because I want to talk about it a lot. So let me know how excited you are for this episode, and let me know how you think it'll turn out, and how much you liked the trailer, and what your favorite parts were, and what you're most excited for. Just let me know all of that in the comments down below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you liked this video, and follow me on Twitter for 1, better notifications for my videos, because YouTube isn't really working with the sub boxes, and 2, I do daily polls about the Arrowverse, or something very similar, just usually the Arrowverse, on Twitter, so make sure to follow me there. Link is in the description. But if you don't have Twitter and you still want to get better notifications for my videos, click the notification icon next to the subscribe button, and also thanks for watching.